Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's original series called Pieces of Her. It's a non-spoiler review. Let me know if you've heard of this, if you've read the book, the adaptation of it. I'm excited to talk about this. Let's jump in. When a Saturday afternoon trip to the mall with her mother suddenly explodes into violence, an adrift young woman's conception of her mother is forever changed. Toni Collette plays Laura Oliver and Jessica Barden as Jane, which is the daughter. There is 8 episodes. They're 45 minutes apiece-ish. They range up to an hour, depending on the episode. And I have to say, this is a mixed bag, because Toni Collette, normally I think you can bank on being just an incredible performance. It has a lot of presence. You kind of know what you're going to get with her. She kind of delves herself massively into the character she's playing. She loses herself in that, and you can very quickly forget that it's an actress you're playing. You're just thinking that you're watching like a fly on the wall, this particular character, whoever she's performing. And also the daughter, Jessica Barden, who plays Jane, I think their relationship is interesting. They both perform fantastically. The issue is that it's an interesting story from the outset. So like episode 1, really interesting premise, quite tense. We have this kind of really dramatic scene that evolves into what the arc is going to be. And then the last 2 episodes are also interesting and quite tense. In between that, we have a seriously long drawn out series that takes a long time to get any answers. And then we have the motivations of the character, particularly the daughter, in episodes 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, where her motivations or her decision making is really frustrating. If she just stopped and thought about what she was doing, she would make different decisions. Particularly in the beginning, episodes 2, 3 and 4, I found myself being so frustrated, thinking, why are you doing that? Don't do that now, do something else. And when you put yourself in the character's shoes and you're thinking, I wouldn't do that in that situation, it's okay, because sometimes it's different, right? Like, you're not that person. You can't actually know what they can do. You can just think you know what you're going to do. Except when it happens consistently, then it becomes more and more frustrating, because it feels like it's written wrongly. Like a character wouldn't do that in that situation. In a dangerous situation, you would do something else. You'd be smarter. You hope, you think, I'm definitely going to be smarter, or react differently to the certain circumstance that I find myself in. And that was the issue I had mostly with this series, is that so many times it was just so painful to watch because of the character's decision making. And then when you put that aside, besides the great acting, the editing is quite good. But there's this weird thing that they do with the editing. It almost makes like the characters have a superpower in the use of editing, where they have a flashback, because there's lots of flashbacks in this, so they can tell us what's actually happened in the past, why this stuff is happening in the future. And our characters have this like glazed over look on their faces, and suddenly there's a flashback. But they really do stand still, and it's like someone can be talking to them and you're like, hello Mrs. Hello, are you there? And they're just gone. There's nobody home. But at the same time, the mother and the daughter can be having a glazed over look, and somehow they're thinking about the same sort of flashback scene. One was really young, one was old, and at the same time, because of mother and daughter intuition or magics or whatever you want to call it, they're having the same sort of flashback. Now, I don't think that's the intended purpose. I just think the way it was edited, it kind of feels like that at times. It was a weird way to go. And then we have the drawn out nature. I was joking to my wife when we were watching this together, saying if you looked up in the dictionary of drawn out TV series, this would be under that name, Pieces of Her, because there are many episodes. The middle bit just felt like, oh, please get to the purpose of the story. Get there quickly. We need to have some answers. Stop drawing it out so long. It definitely feels like it could have been better as one of those tightly edited stories that we get in the BBC, where it's 3 to 6 episodes max. It feels like 2 episodes could have been shaved off quite easily. That's not to say that there wasn't story here to enjoy, because like I said, the last 2 episodes really do kind of brings to fruition everything you've had to go through with these characters, and feels like, okay, that's somewhat good. And then there's a kind of a reveal at the end that you're like, oh, okay, I didn't actually see that coming. I should have. The signs were there, and that's great. That's good storytelling when you can't absolutely guess everything, because we've seen pretty much everything. So Toni Collette's performance is great. The daughter's great. There's a number of other actors that are there along the way. I don't think anybody's really weak. I think all the actors kind of bring to screen what the director's trying to direct them to for the audience to kind of get what's happening in the story. It just feels so drawn out that there were times when I'm thinking, oh, are they going to draw this out into a second season? Because I'm not watching another season of this. So really mixed feelings about this. I know the performances are good. I know the story is interesting, but I really wanted it to be over much quicker than it was. So I'm going to give this 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. And the 2.5 is me going, okay, performances are good, it looks good, it's an interesting story, but because of all of those other things that I mentioned at the beginning, I can't quite give it higher than that. And I know, and that feels like I'm being very judgy, because anything that has Toni Collette in it, you kind of think, well, this is going to be good, right? This is amazing. It's just my immediate reactions, my gut reactions. I really wanted my wife to be with me on this review, because I felt like as soon as I knew I had to review this, I felt like, people are not going to like me not liking this series. But it was long. It just felt too long. I was like willing it to be over. So I think if you don't mind long drawn out series, and I do as well, which is weird. Sometimes the slow pacing can work for a series. For example, The Sinner, it does that amazingly. It draws out those puzzle pieces, but you're riveted with every episode. Here, I was not riveted. I just wanted them to get to the story. I wanted to find out what was happening. I just felt like they were drawing it out for no good reason. So there we go. 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and choose.